So we've been talking quite a bit about how the Republican Party has been getting more and more extreme over the years. Look, don't get it twisted. Under the Bush-Cheney years, they were basically as horrible can be when it comes to wars and policy. But now they're just as bad on wars and policy. But then you sprinkle in complete and utter idiocy and marching off a cliff when it comes to how they present themselves to the world, the contradictions of their ideology. And now, as Noam Chomsky says, this isn't even really a political party anymore. The Republicans have become some completely off the spectrum grouping of freaks and weirdos. So this, what I'm about to lay out for you here, really highlights it. So this is in the Oklahoma County Republican Party censures U.S. Senator James Lankford. So let me give you some backstory before we get into the specifics here. This guy, James Lankford, is a very conservative Republican senator. In fact, I would disagree with him on probably nothing. I would agree with him on probably nothing, okay? But what he did recently is he said, look, I'm a senator. I want to get something done. So let me work with Biden and Schumer and the Democrats, and let me try to craft a bill that is very conservative on the border to address the border crisis. And then, we'll see what the Democrats want to include, and we'll take it from there. And basically, there was a bill that was negotiated that was, the Democrats said to the Republicans, Biden and Schumer said to the Republicans, whatever y'all want on the border, we'll give it to you. In return, what we want is money for Ukraine, money for Taiwan, and money for Israel. Now, the Israel portion was not a problem because Republicans and Democrats are equally bought by Israel. But Ukraine and Taiwan, you had Republicans who were a little more so-so on that, especially on the issue of Ukraine. They're not so hot on sending them more money. But normally in these border negotiations, the immigration negotiations, the Democrats historically have said, we'll give you increased border security. You give us protections for dreamers. You give us a path to citizenship for people who've already been here for an extended period of time and they're employed and they're good citizens, et cetera, et cetera. This time they were like, forget the dreamers, forget a path to citizenship for people who've been here, forget any sort of liberal ideas on the border. We're just going to give you whatever the hell you want on the border. That's what happened in these negotiations. So James Lankford led those negotiations, was able to get massively conservative ideas into that bill. But Donald Trump goes and gives a rally, says, I don't want to give Biden a win, so we're going to kill this bill. So this is Donald Trump taking the position on the border, which is less hardline, less hawkish for purely political reasons. Not because he disagrees with the policy, because he, quote, doesn't want to give Biden a win, right? So Lankford became the face of these negotiations, which imploded because the right flank of his party, the MAGA wing of his party, said, we're going to kill it. And now he's viewed as a traitor. So the Oklahoma Republicans are like, let's censure him. Think about why they're censuring him. He negotiated with Democrats, and he got very conservative policies on the border. That's why he's being censured. It makes zero sense insofar as somebody actually believes in their set of policies and they're trying to get them implemented, right? All right, let's dive in. Oklahoma County Republicans on Saturday censured U.S. Senator James Lankford over his work on a failed border security deal. The overwhelming vote to censure the senior Republican senator came at a party convention in Oklahoma City. The people have spoken. The county party chair, Ken Warner, told the Oklahoman, it's really because he said he's willing to allow 5,000 illegals per day, Warner said. That was part of the border bill. That was one of the things in there. He estimated 225 Republicans attended the convention. All right. This line, which I hear all the time on right-wing media and from MAGA freaks, it's literally just a lie. It's a lie. What they're referring to is, once you get over that 5,000 encounters at the border per day, the border is completely shut down and there's no more due process. So really, it's the line that you revoke any and all due process if it gets above 5,000. It's not allowing in the 5,000 and then, the people after that are banned. It's saying the 5,000 are not allowed in, but once we get over the 5,000 number, we're not even going to hear anything from anybody at all, and there is no more due process. You forfeit your right to due process after that line. They're all mangling it, either lying about it or they're just idiots and they don't understand how it works, right? It's one or the other. But this is a point I've heard over and over again. They think, oh, James Lankford wants to allow in 5,000. What are you talking about? This border bill it's supported by the Border Patrol Union. They say we support this. So are you saying they're in favor of allowing in 5,000 people? That's not true. It's just not true. This bill sends a whole bunch of immigration judges, a whole bunch of new Border Patrol agents, more ICE facilities. It loads the border up with resources and more personnel and more enforcement. And they cut off due process over 5,000. How are you supposed to work in a system where like half of the people involved are either liars or they don't even know how the basic things work that they're voting on? I don't know how you handle that. This almost reminds me of the Obamacare debate. Obama ended up proposing a Republican policy on health insurance. He copied Mitt Romney's idea in Massachusetts. It's an individual mandate system. It makes it so you have to, by force of law, buy private insurance. That's Obamacare. When Obama proposed that, the Republicans all voted against it, even though it was their idea. So you give them what they want, and they won't take yes for an answer. Now, by the way, this is not to let the Democrats off the hook either, because I don't agree with them always giving Republicans what they want and then Republicans spitting in their eye. I want Democrats to represent what should be Democratic policies and ideas. They don't do that. They say yes to the Republicans, and then Republicans flip and say no to their own ideas. And it happens time and time and time again. All right, more. Lankford has worked to craft a bipartisan deal to address the surge in illegal immigration along the nation's southern border. It has the support of President Joe Biden. It has not advanced, largely because former President Donald Trump has spoken out against it. Lankford has complained the deal has been misunderstood. Quote, "It would be absolutely absurd for me to agree to 5,000 people a day. This bill focuses on getting us to 0 illegal crossings a day," he told Fox News in January. This is not about letting 5,000 people in a day. This is set up for if you have a rush of people coming at the border closes down, no one gets in. Some members of the Oklahoma Republican Party met in January to censure Lankford over what they called his open border deal. The state's party chair, Nathan Dahm, later said the meeting was illegal and the censure was not an official position of the Oklahoma GOP. Okay, so that's interesting. A bunch of rogue Republicans in Oklahoma got together and were like, we are against this man because we don't understand at all the bill that he negotiated. What am I supposed to do with this, man? The Democratic position seems to be, let's just give Republicans what they want all the time. And the Republican position seems to be, now we're against our own ideas. And we're going to say it's open borders. Oh, everything's so broken. They're so extreme. I actually feel bad for this guy, Lankford. Again, I don't agree with him on anything. Me and him could not be more apart on policy. But I think he's had an awakening, an enlightenment moment here where he's like, oh, the people who I'm in bed with are absolutely psychotic morons. Like, they don't know the first thing about policy or governance. They have no idea, none. And that's why you had that moment at the State of the Union where Biden talks about the provisions of the bill and how it sends more judges and more enforcement, and it's the toughest border bill in decades. And he says all this stuff, and you see James Lankford sitting there. They got a camera on him, and he mouths, "That's right." He probably feels like they stabbed his ass in the back. OD, man. OD. So it'll be interesting to see. Keep an eye on this guy, right? Because he might be pulling a Liz Cheney at some point. Liz Cheney, of course, sort of became a media darling on CNN and MSNBC because she disagrees with Trump on one thing, namely him trying to coup the country, coup the government. So she became a liberal media darling. He might potentially become the same thing, a liberal media darling, all over the fact that he's like, the Democrats are pro-tough border policies, and it's the Republicans who are not now. So I can see him doing sort of a turn like that. Our politics is beyond warped. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.